Okay, so assuming that you have a strong core offer, the missing piece to the puzzle is to strategically prove that you have exactly what the employer is looking for. And to do this, you need to read between the lines. So there are three things you need to consider when applying for your dream job. And they are: why is the job being advertised in the first place? They usually give clues in the job advert and also in the job description and the person specification as to why this job might be coming about, whether it's a new team, whether they're expanding, or whether or not they've been affected by something. It's really important to actually work out why it's being advertised, because that will provide the meaning behind why they want or why they are looking for certain skills and certain experience. What's the politics? Now, they're not going to put that in their role description. However, if you read between the lines and you do your research, you might be able to guess what kind of environment you might be walking into. Is this part of a change management process? Is it part of a brand new overhaul? Because these things usually will help you work out what spin or what angle to put on your experience. And finally, what characteristics will management be looking for? If you imagine the person that's put this role description together, sometimes obviously they will get a recruitment service to do this, but ultimately when you get to interview, it's probably going to be your potential manager or the head of department or the head of the company that is going to be looking at your skills. So having a bit of an understanding of what you guess the management will be looking for, again, is going to put you in a position of strategic power, because you'll be able to engineer your experience, your skills, your achievements, your attributes around providing the evidence of why you are the best fit for this position.
Hi guys, so now I am going to give you an example of how to actually practically read between the lines, and I'm going to play a piece from a live webinar that I did for inclusive recruiting, where I talked through a real life role description and how to actually use an approach that helps you break down and understand what's going on behind the scenes, which in turn will help you prepare really strongly when it comes to writing your application or tweaking your application, your CV, creating your cover letter. And doing this also prepares you for the interview as well. So this is kind of everything that I've just explained in practice. So I will share it.
You'll be able to get a lot from this example. So what I'm using this job role to do here is to help you to approach applying for a role in a really, really strong way. Because when you do this, from the time that you start job searching and applying, if you follow this process, it's actually going to prepare and set you up for the interview very nicely, because you would have thought through everything that you need to think through before you get to the interview stage. So just trust me on this one, and then at the end we'll see how it all. And this is just a role that I found on LinkedIn, and I'm using it for the purposes of today because the job spec isn't as long as most are. Now this is a charity, I don't know if you've heard of it, Marie Curie, and they provide, they provide support and services for families and people that are in needing long-term care, and they're a great charity. But they're looking for a process improvement manager. Salary is about 45, full-time, UK home base. So what we're going to do, I'm going to read this out. We're going to read it together, and I'm going to share with you the techniques of how to prepare for your interview questions and prepare for applying as well. So it says, the purpose of the fundraising change and standards team is to enable people and teams of the organisation to work in a more efficient, effective and compliant way. So as you know, in a person's spec or in a job description, they always will give clues of who they're looking for, what they're looking for, therefore what you will need to demonstrate in an interview situation. So here it's saying you're going to be part of the fundraising change and standards team, which is the team that drives efficiency, effectiveness and compliance for Marie Curie charity. We identify and deliver opportunities to work in a faster, easier and better way so that more of the organisation's time, effort and money benefits the people and families the charity serves. The team provide expertise and advice to fundraising, the business process improvement and design, project management and risk and compliance. So the team focuses on business process improvement, project management, risk and compliance. The process improvement manager is required to work collaboratively across the organisation, bringing people together to optimise the processes, systems and data that support their fundraising activity. They've said two things that they're looking for here. We are looking for experience of process improvement, project management, and business analysis, and we're looking for somebody with an ability to work with a wide range of stakeholders to align goals, collaborate effectively, and deliver results. And that's all they've really said that they're looking for, and they've listed all the things that's in it for the person that applies, which is all to do with their work perks, like having a season ticket loan and continuous development. And it says here, for more information or an informal chat, you can contact this process improvement manager, which would be likely to be the line manager, senior process improvement manager, the line manager to this role, process improvement manager. So before we learn the technique, what are your thoughts on a role like this? What do you feel like you would ultimately do it? Because I don't know about you, sometimes the job title either does say what it does on the tin, or sometimes you see a role and you think to yourself, there's so much more to this job than they have actually explained. And this is the bit where when you're in an interview, you're trying to understand what they really want so that you can talk about how you can do that, how you can solve their problems. But unless they kind of made it clear on the job description, it's kind of up to you to hope that you're choosing the best examples for what they're looking for. So best way to prepare for an interview is just to dissect the role as best you can. So what are your initial thoughts here about what this role is like to actually be doing, or what do you think is going on behind the scenes? If we was to put our detective hats on, what's going on here? Why do they really need a process improvement manager, and what kind of environment do you think you'd actually be walking into?
So Joe says, it sounds though this job has been sparked off by something going wrong, maybe? Compliance, question mark? So yeah, could be, yeah.
Yeah, what else? What are your initial thoughts of a role like this? What do you think predominantly you're going to be having to deal with or having to do?
I think you're walking into a mess. So you're there to tidy up, basically. The fact that it's called process improvement shows that the process is not working at the moment.
Yeah.
So you are going in there to literally make it more efficient. And the fact that I think it was Joe who mentioned that compliance is an issue. The fact that they put compliant in the job description as well.
Yeah.
So there probably have been issues with compliance. The fact that they need you to work in a faster, easier, and better way means that at the moment processes are slow, difficult, and the worst. So basically, they're giving you the clues in place, like really.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just going to stop the share so I can come back.
So they've got more comments about they need someone to get different teams to work better together and start collaborating.
Yeah, hence why they've actually only said the clues are there when they're only saying they just want somebody to do two things here. What they're not saying is we need you to absolutely know your stuff when it comes to change management, dealing with difficult people, streamlining, strategy, and when they say we want you to work collaboratively across different departments, what they're really saying is we need a people person here, and we need someone who's really assertive, because it is like a do or die situation. Get compliance wrong, particularly in a charity, what's going to happen? What could be the worst case scenario if compliance, risk management strategy is not done right? What will happen to that charity, or what could happen to that organisation? Do you think? Yeah. One wrong move and the reputation of a charity, that's happened before. People just won't donate. People will avoid that and go to another charity, and then they'll lose the whole income. It'll get in the news. It'll be catastrophic. So what they're not saying here, and this is how you kind of think through a job description and position yourself really strongly for it. You would be that person who knows how to do this. You're basically applying for the role saying, I know base needs whipping up into shape. I know your processes need whipping up into shape. I'm the person to do it because I have a strategic mind. I've got business acumen. I am a people person. I have worked collaboratively. It's almost like you then need to think about how are you going to position yourself as the person who's going to solve all of these problems. And if you go through this process first, then you can think about whether you even want to do the role as well. Now, the fact that it's said that you could speak to your potential line manager is another opportunity here, because if you've got a strong kind of interview technique, you could be ringing that person up and already selling yourself as the person who they really want on their team, or to be that person that they want to line manage. So what I'm doing this for right now is to help you to read between the lines of the role description, so that you can start choosing more strategically your best examples and understanding truly what type of person they're looking for, because they're not going to say we've got about 5 people who have been there for 15 years and they do not like change. We need you to come in and deal with those people. They're not going to say that. But what if that's who they're looking for? So always think, kind of read between the lines of the role description, and then think, right, how can I position myself as the person who can do this? So now I am going to bring up an actual question that could very likely be asked in a interview for this role. And I think I'm in the wrong presentation. Bear with me. Sorry, guys. Does this all make sense, by the way? Is this making sense? And is this helpful? Find it.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Right. Okay. So I've got pen and papers ready. either approach this as though we're applying for this role at Marie Curie together, or you can think about it for your industry and your dream job that you want to apply for. Before you do this, I'm just going to read it out and then we're going to do it together. So I don't want you to answer this question right now. I just want you to get it clear and maybe write it down.